yesterday. This is our market update with a certified financial advisor, Lyn Summers. Hi Lyn, nice to meet you. And I've been attending your course over the last 2 days, and I promised my viewers that I'm going to bring them a special guest on my market update. So this is my special guest, and here's why I like Lyn. She's one of the gold picks among the financial advisors because she doesn't bluff. All right, she tells it as it is, and I've learned quite a bit from what she has shared so far. So Lyn, the reason you're here on the show today is what's going to happen on the next 2 weeks. Something interesting is cooking beneath the scenes, beneath all the trouble that we see on media. Something different is happening, undercurrents.
There is. Look, as you know, the Federal Reserve over the last couple of years have come out with what is known as QE1, QE2, QE3. Basically, quantitative easing, another word for money printing. You might not hear that word again. The next word on their list is they're going to come out with something called the STRs. They stand for Special Drawing Rights, and it's nothing more than an IOU, another way of printing money.
Okay, and how is it going to affect the common man? How is it going to affect their money or the businesses? What's going to happen basically?
Well, obviously there are concerns, you know, with more money printing and inflation rising. The US have also said that at the moment that they have to keep interest rates on hold. And the economy is really at a turning point of some massive changes.
Okay, which brings me to the next question. People think, those who don't know the real story, they think the market has already crashed and we're coming back up. Is this the truth? Has it already crashed?
You haven't seen nothing yet.
Okay.
I think these are the telltale signs that we're seeing to get prepared for something even bigger happening down the road.
Okay. The next thing I would like to ask you or inform the viewers is, even as we're preparing for the big crash, like you would say, probably let's say maybe in the next year, next year or so, is this the end of the world?
Certainly not. I used to get quite excited, as you know, in times like this.
Okay. Did you get that? She gets excited when it comes to the end of the world, as we say, quote unquote, market crash. Why?
Because it creates so much opportunity out there. People have got to understand that nothing ever goes up now in our lifetime. Our economy has become cyclic. Things go up, they go down, they go up. We experienced that back in the GFC in 2007. We've had one of the biggest runs since then. The market has got to have a turning point and come back down and crash. It creates so much opportunity in a falling market. A lot of people, and that's why we're here at this workshop this weekend, is to help educate people that get excited. We can't control what's happening out there in the world.
Absolutely.
But can we take advantage of it
Absolutely.
by education, through knowledge, and know how these big fellas, they know what's going on. I think they haven't got their bets headed to the downside to profit from this.
Okay. One of the trends I see is everybody flocks like a pack of cows towards an institution that claims to know the solution to a market crash. Do you, I mean, in terms of trading, So you suggest these guys go for that, or do they come to one of these kind of self-education courses where they can take advantage? What's your view on a professional trading company doing it for them versus self-education?
Well, I think it's time for people to start, to educate themselves. Would I put my money with somebody else and trust them when things get really bad in the economy with our fund managers? We can't sell in a collapsing market.
Yeah.
So most of the people that have got money tied up write everything all the way to the bottom, like in 2007. Now, this happened big time globally, but in Australia. Our super funds that lost so much money have never recovered and come back. And look how far that the market has surpassed.
Let me hold you right there. Super funds are what you call retirement funds, right?
Funds,
Okay,
yes, in Australia. So this is money that our bosses pay into a retirement account to the government for us to retire on when come to the age of 65. GFC wiped that out for a lot of people. No retirement money.
And there has not been any sort of like an insurance that the government did for those who... No? Okay. How safe is your money if you hold it in a bank during this crash?
Not as safe as most people think either. Banks say that they have, well, look at past history, they have a certain amount of our money insured. Really? A lot of those insurances, you know, for example, a lot of people now are starting to diversify because a lot of banks are insuring up to only $100,000. If you've got any more than $100,000, it's not insured, so you could stand to lose a lot.
So banks are not safe, your retirement funds are not safe. The best way is self-education, learn, and take advantage of these cyclic behaviors, you know. What would you tell somebody who says, okay, anyways, I'm not earning too much? What would you tell them? I mean, like, it's too expensive. Trading is considered for the big money people. Do you say that's true? Or?
It is. Well, as we've shared here this weekend is, you know, you can start trading with a couple of $100. You don't have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Can I start with 500?
You saw it this weekend.
Just with 500?
Just with $500.
And what's the potential in this bear market trend? How much do you think we can turn this 500 into? Estimate.
This is where returns can get really, really big in falling, crashy markets. You know, you can make up to hundreds, up to thousands of percentages. And I know that through the crash of 2008, because personally myself, within 6 months, I made 1,000% within 6 months. I've never done that in history, except in a falling, crashing market.
Wow.
So I get excited that there is market crashes coming.
Wow.
Because they do, it brings a lot of opportunity if you have the right education and knowledge.
Excellent. So your 500, rather than disappearing in the bank, you could get at least 1,000. Almost, you could make up to 1,000 in a falling market. So here's my advice: hey, get educated, learn something new through these kind of trainings, and start with your small money. Start with your small money and take advantage of cyclic behaviors of the market. Is that what you say? What would you say, like, at closing line?
Absolutely. This is the best time actually to learn, because this is the greatest opportunity that may not come along for another 7 to 10 years.
Absolutely. Which means after 7 to 10 years, you think maybe there's another crash, right?
Of course.
Because they're cyclic in nature. Take advantage of it. It's not the end of the world. God bless you guys. Thank you, Lyn, once
Thanks,
again.
Dave.
Goodbye.